Hi friends, Miss Joy here from the J.C. Ralston Arboretum. I'm filling in for Miss Elizabeth this week, and I thought we would read a story called A Ladybug's Life. A Ladybug's Life, written and illustrated by John Himmelman. In the early spring, a ladybug lays her eggs on a leaf. Soon, a ladybug larva squeezes out of her egg. Good morning, spring. The ladybug larva plucks an aphid off of a rose stem. She grows bigger and bigger each day. Soon, the ladybug larva changes into a ladybug pupa. Then, the ladybug pupa changes into a ladybug beetle. Good morning, summer. The ladybug beetle searches for food. Mealybugs make a good meal. The ladybug beetle climbs to the top of an aster and then flies off through the air. A warbler tries to catch the ladybug beetle. She gets away, but a robber fly is not as lucky. The ladybug beetle lands on a child's swing. She looks in the child's eye. Ladybug, ladybug, fly away, says the child. The ladybug beetle lands on a wild rose. But a praying mantis is waiting. Lucky again, the mantis catches a crane fly instead. It's time to find a male ladybug. She searches and snoops. She seeks and hunts. At last, she finds a mate. Now the ladybug beetle lays eggs of her own. When summer has passed, the autumn leaves fall. And as it grows cold, the ladybug grows sleepy. She sleeps through the winter with her ladybug friends. Good night until spring, ladybug beetle. The end. Wow, did you know all of that about a ladybug? I didn't know they went through all those stages. That's pretty cool. Let's go on a little nature walk and see if we can find any ladybugs. This bush is full of flying things, but no ladybug. Ladybug? Are you here? There's something red. Is that a ladybug? No, it's a wild strawberry. I wonder what that is. He flew away. Well, we didn't spot any ladybugs on our walk today, I'm sorry. But we did see lots of flying, interesting insects and spiders, and you know, the garden is very busy with lots of things flying around and crawling around in it. I hope you'll take a few minutes today to go out and explore your garden. Now, let's head inside and I'll show you a fun ladybug craft you can do, something you can put out in your garden. So one of the things I like to do when I'm making a craft for the garden is look around the house and see what I have laying around that I can use to make something creative. And this is my little ladybug that I came up with. What do you think? She can fly out in the garden. So I started looking around, and then one of the things that I found laying around the house that I had extra of were these lids, these plastic lids. And I thought, oh, red lids, we can make a ladybug out of that. So it's really simple. I took a jar and turned it upside down and drew a circle around it. Now, if you can cut a circle with a pair of scissors, you won't have to do that, but I traced the circle and then I cut it out, you can see. And a lid like this was really easy to cut because it's thin. And if you don't have a red one, that's fine. You can use any color. Plastic will hold up a little bit longer in the garden. So anyway, I cut out my circle, and then using some black acrylic paint, I added a head. And you see how I painted like the top third of the circle, and then a black stripe down the middle, and then some round dots. And on this ladybug, which is made out of the same material, I added some Google eyes. But if you don't have googly eyes, you can do what I did on this one, which was just to paint the eyes on with white and black paint. And I thought they were kind of fun because they're kind of translucent too. You can see through them. Then I took a pin, just a little, like a bulletin board pin, and poked a hole in it and laced some thread through it. And you can see that here I attached it then to this straw, which is again something I just had in the drawer. And I kind of liked this straw because I could pull this down and then it made it free so that it could float, twirl around a little bit. Now, one thing I added was that instead of putting the straw directly in the garden, I went ahead and put this bamboo pole, or you could use a chopstick or something else wooden, and then you can just slip this over the little bamboo pole, and then that way you can bring your ladybug in from the garden if you want to. A couple tricks to this. So one thing is, to get these nice round dots on the ladybug, I actually took the tip of a pencil and I dipped the eraser in black paint, and then I just dabbed that on there. It's kind of like stamping a little dot right on the ladybug. And I thought that worked really well. The other thing is, if you don't, you can use the other end of the pencil if you don't need something that big around. And in this case, for the white part of the eyes, I used the tip of the pencil and dipped that in white paint and twirled it around a little bit. That's sometimes a little bit easier to do than using a paintbrush. But if you start with a white plastic lid, you might want to cover it first with red paint. Here was something else I found that I thought would make a good ladybug, and I haven't even finished it yet, but this is the lid from a canning jar. And so it's already round, the shape of the body, and I went ahead and put 2 coats of red paint on that, and then I'll add the black spots later. But let me show a few other things that I found that made fun little ladybugs. Look at these. Can you see them? These are actually little red beads from an old necklace that I found that had been put in the garage sale pile. And I looked at them and I thought, those are perfect for little ladybugs. They're kind of a flat, round shape. And so I added my black acrylic paint and I used the tip of my paintbrush to add those little dots. And I just did different sizes, and I think those are real fun. These would be fun to put out in the garden, or to, I don't know, you could play games with them or use them outside. And if you don't have beads to work with, maybe you have some other round objects that you'll find in your garden. Some stones, or even a seashell you found at the beach. There's lots of brown things you can use. And then, so start with a base of red and then add your black coloring for the head and the dots, and then add eyes. And like I said, you might have Google eyes around, but no fear if you don't, just use black and white paint and paint your own eyes on there and have fun. Now, here's my last favorite thing. I took a old spice canister and look what I did. I painted on the top and made it into a little ladybug. And guess what I can do with this? After I can remove this label fairly easily. We'll rip that off. And now I have a little ladybug container that I can use for when I go out in the garden to search for ladybugs. And guess what? I can open it up and put the ladybug in there. And then when I put the lid back on, I can snap that lid off the top and the ladybug will get enough air so that it can survive. But you can always clip it back shut if you want to make sure she doesn't escape.
I hope you had fun today learning more about ladybugs, and I can't wait to see what you come up with for your ladybug craft. Until next time.